From a young love interest in Harry Potter and Twilight to the big and serious lead of Batman.
I'm vengeance.
Robert Pattinson's career evolution can be seen from the very basic terms of a child actor growing into an adult one, wanting to take on more serious roles.
I am better than you.
Today, we're taking a look at how his career has, importantly, evolved through his relationship to Hollywood and its ability to take him seriously as an actor.
I mean, it's not exactly a job. It's like, I should be paying to do this.
Pattinson's acting career itself started with a rocky and unsure beginning.
This strapping young lad must be Cedric, am I right?
Sir.
His role in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire initially put Robert Pattinson on the map. As Cedric Diggory, Pattinson acted as Harry Potter's main competition in the Goblet of Fire.
Are you serious?
This role made him stand out against the rest of the multitudes of actors working on the HP set, and distinguished his name from many viewers. Even though this role was very influential on the trajectory of his career, it seemed as though Robert Pattinson really didn't care for it. As a young star, especially in interviews, Rob had a very casual air about him that came across as apathetic or indifferent.
Yeah, I think this is the best movie. Well, but it is.
Even in regard to his establishing role as a face in Hollywood, it seems as though, from the get-go, Pattinson didn't take his roles or his career very seriously, and that Hollywood didn't take him seriously as an actor either. The Harry Potter franchise turned out to be the origin of Pattinson's success, but after a few months of looking, he was having a hard time getting another job in the film industry. After attending audition after audition with no luck, Robert Pattinson's talent agent suggested he carried around a guitar with him to set him apart from the pack and demonstrate his potential skills as a musician. This attention-grabbing move on the part of Pattinson was taken, more or less, poorly by the producers of Twilight. The filmmakers questioned the presence of Pattinson's instrument during his audition, which put a pretty big dent in his confidence. In fact, Rob called his parents convinced he didn't land the role, and told them he was considering giving up on acting altogether. Thankfully, that period of discouragement didn't last long, because Rob got a call from the filmmakers soon after that he had secured the role of Edward in the Twilight series.
I never really quite knew how to play a vampire. No, I just sort of.
The criticism the young actor received in his audition for Edward is clearly demonstrative of the way in which the industry viewed Pattinson, as a young boy who doesn't need to be taken seriously. Just as Pattinson hadn't taken his first role earnestly, his second big role regarded him in the same way, and even he had lots of trouble taking it seriously after a while.
Everything about me invites you in. My voice, my face, even my smell.
Throughout the filming of Twilight, it began to become more and more obvious that Pattinson was restless within his role as Edward. According to interviews, Rob was almost fired from the Twilight franchise after being chastised for taking his role too seriously. The producers came up to the young star and told him that if he were to remain working for the film production, he would need to loosen up, be more happy, and drop the brooding attitude he'd adopted for the role. As a young star, you can imagine it would be challenging and almost impossible to stick up for yourself to new bosses who just gave you a second chance at success.
Oh, sorry, I can't remember anything today.
In this interview, Rob tells Howard Stern that he eventually just gave into the pressure to be more lighthearted.
I came back after lunch. I was like, hi! I want to keep my job.
Since that point in time, it seems Robert really leaned into the lightheartedness that his superiors expected of him in his role as Edward. In nearly any interview you can find on the internet, Pattinson has something snarky or comical to say about his time on set and the Twilight portion of his career. Video compilations have gone viral across the internet since Pattinson's career ended with the Twilight series. They show him poking fun at the franchise, laughing at the narrative, and generally regarding the movie series with little respect.
When I read it, it seemed like it was a book that wasn't supposed to be published.
This shows how Pattinson fought fire with fire during his time as Edward. The producers of Twilight didn't want him to be taken seriously, so he would make Twilight out to be the most unserious project he's worked on. Regardless of this treatment, there's no denying that Twilight set Pattinson up to be the new heartthrob of Hollywood, with Twilight fanatics knowing every detail of his livelihood and paparazzi tracking him down. Rob had to deal with a whole new level of fame after his work with this franchise. Fame that kept him locked down as Edward to the public, despite his effort to distance himself from the character. That's exactly what will lead us into the twist in Rob's evolution, his desire to distance himself from Edward and being characterized as a light-hearted actor.
It just takes time to realize how to live when your life kind of
seismically shifts. Like,
Pattinson's next career move was undoubtedly reactionary to his time playing Edward, as he gave up the role of on-screen crush and took on the independent movie world with more serious, dark, and challenging characters to play and roles to fill. In his time filming and working on smaller independent productions, it seems as though Rob was able to grow within himself and find more respectable footing as an actor. The roles he was able to take on in various films, including Good Time, High Life, The Lighthouse, and The King, all granted the actor a larger sense of professionalism. Good Time, a 2017 independent film by production company A24, received a huge amount of critical acclaim, with Pattinson and other lead actors receiving a 6-minute standing ovation at the film's premiere at the Cannes Film Festival. The directors of Good Time actually built the film around Pattinson's interest, proving that, at least in the independent film world, Pattinson was gaining industrial respect for his craft.
Just sort of overwhelmed them with enthusiasm.
And they said, okay, we're going to come up with something for you.
Yeah, and the director was saying...
In his other film, High Life, Pattinson also hunted down the director to get started working with them for the film project. Director Claire Denis said she felt an initial reluctance to hire Pattinson, as she assumed he would be expecting a lot from her and her directorial skills, while Pattinson says...
And then I spent probably 4 years trying to get a meeting, which never happened.
It's obvious that, at least in this point in his career, Pattinson was seeking out directors he felt could better him as an actor and help him grow into a more serious name than he'd touted before. Pattinson was not only demanding better quality work from the creators in the independent film industry, he was also delivering better work and a more serious affect towards the projects he was working on. His aim to become a better actor by taking himself and the industry more seriously seems to be paying off. In The King, it is obvious that Pattinson's acting has taken on a new layer of talent.
I have come to describe for you your end days,
as his lines are delivered with variety and life unseen before in his role as Edward. In interviews about his more recent work, including the independent film The Lighthouse, Pattinson's tone and general regard to the projects he's invested in is very different from the way in which he treated Harry Potter or Twilight. He talks about movies as though they are serious projects that he is excited to be part of.
Sort of weird slapstick humor at the same time. I was like, how is this all going to meld together?
His serious tone translates over to his interviews about Batman, wherein the actor is equally insightful and serious about his work.
It's interesting what the different directions you can take with it, and that kind of, for in some ways, quite a specific character.
In this clip, Pattinson discusses the nuances of his role as Batman, the intimidating shoes he has to fill, and the director's unique perspective on the narrative. All of these topics differ so greatly from his nonchalant, dismissive attitude about his roles or the stories of Harry Potter and Twilight. The Batman trailer itself distinguishes the movie as a much more serious-toned superhero flick that is almost unlike anything Pattinson has acted in before. This isn't just another run-of-the-mill superhero film that is typically lighthearted, full of fun action, and optimistic. Rather, this version of Batman's narrative is much more intense and gloomy. The Batman is characterized as brooding, violent, and mysterious.
I'm vengeance.
Interestingly enough, this is much more like the energy Pattinson tried to elicit for his character in Twilight, which almost got him fired. This iteration of Batman takes the classic idea of the superhero and transforms it into something much more dark and serious than past franchises have, making Pattinson and his newfound somber attitude towards acting a perfect match for this role. Robert's role as Batman demonstrates and solidifies the seriousness the actor has been working towards during his time acting in independent films. To summarize his evolution, it is important to identify the type of movie that Robert Pattinson started off with and what these roles had in common. Both of these movies set Pattinson up as the love interest, who doesn't have much going on except for his romantic life and his looks.
Oh, now I'm pissed.
Twilight played into this cliche a bit more, but Harry Potter determined Pattinson as a one-dimensional figure that represents competition. This competitiveness plays into Pattinson's stereotypical heartthrob casting, because romance in movies almost always involves competition for love.
Maybe you wanted to go to the ball with me.
I'm sorry, but someone's already asked me.
These characters are useful roles for people looking for a one-time claim to fame, which is exactly what Pattinson got after his time in Twilight. However, Robert Pattinson put in a lot of work to change the fate that the roles he took on in Twilight and Harry Potter promised him. The characters that Pattinson is now taking on are almost the complete opposite direction of his initial roles. They are steeped in seriousness and give off the feeling of hard-boiled realism. His character in Good Time is complex and adds to the film's sense of anxiousness. In The Lighthouse, his character takes on a seriousness that Pattinson has rarely shown in his acting career before.
You ain't no copper. You ain't the president. You ain't my father.
Those films, including High Life, The King, and now Batman, all work to elevate Pattinson's acting skills as well as his regard toward his career. From cliche heartthrob to various characters steeped in hard-boiled realism, Pattinson has gone from an actor that wasn't taken seriously to one of the most reputable young faces in acting. His current roles reflect hard work and dedication from the actor that has allowed him to set himself apart from all the dreamboats that come and go through Hollywood. What iteration of RPat is your favorite? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching! Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to The Things for more great content about your favorite TV shows and movies. We'll see you next time!